Hi, this is Dr. Johnny Liu, and we're going to answer some more questions about healthcare. So today the question is, what happens if you have a provider that doesn't take any insurance? And if you're on Medicare, what happens if you go to somebody that does not accept Medicare? So this is something that's happening more and more often. A lot of doctors are leaving the insurance system, especially the ones that are in high demand, because they realize I don't need to deal with a lot of the administrative burden. They can run these micro practices, which they don't need an assistant. They have scheduling software. They can see you over Zoom, depending on the specialty, and people will be happy to pay them cash for it. Common specialties, one is mental health. A lot of psychologists, a lot of psychiatrists, we're seeing they can do things remotely. They can live anywhere in the country or in the world, and they have a panel of loyal patients because they're effective in their craft. And a lot of them will not take insurance. Chiropractors are another example. Even though Medicare covers chiropractic services in certain respects, a lot of chiropractors have decided to take cash. Also, a lot of dermatologists are starting to take cash. A lot of them have ventured into cosmetics, which is not covered by insurance unless it's part of a reconstructive surgery. So a lot of them have said, look, I make more money without dealing with insurance. I'm going to go and take just cash. And what's happening now is that a lot of primary care doctors are doing the same thing. They're going to direct primary care, which is a monthly subscription model. You don't have to worry about who's coming through the door. You have a panel of patients. Oftentimes you can see a fifth the amount of patients and make more while being able to truly have more time with your patients, especially the complicated cases, to be able to take care of them. So I think it's a wonderful example of how a lot of primary care doctors are now leaving the system, the insurance system, and taking cash. So what happens when you have insurance and you go see one of those doctors? So unfortunately, there's two choices and they're going to be pretty obvious. One is either find a doctor that's going to take your insurance, or you're going to have to pay out of pocket. And when you pay out of pocket, there are some considerations to be aware of as well, because a lot of insurance plans now, they are HMO only, meaning that they require you to have a primary care doctor that's in network in most cases, and that primary care doctor needs to give you a referral to go see a specialist. So if you have a primary care doctor that accepts only cash and they don't take any insurance, and the HMO plan that you're on requires an in-network doctor to do a referral, then you're going to be out of luck, because your primary care doctor that you're paying a subscription to is not going to be able to give the referral. In certain rare cases, we've seen insurance companies give exceptions, but again, that's the exception rather than the rule. And then if you see specialists that are independent of any referrals or so forth, a psychiatrist, let's say, or even an orthopedic person who's only takes cash, then, or PT, then you can go ahead and pay them cash. It's going to be outside of your insurance system. Whatever you pay is not going to count towards any deductibles or out-of-pocket expenses for your insurance plan. They're going to be completely separate. And that's one thing that we've realized that people have to get used to these days, because as the medical system cuts back on physician reimbursements, what we're seeing is that a lot of the high-demand doctors are going to go cash. And when you go cash, you're going to have people that are going to have to pay out of pocket. And in that case, people have to really just get through the mindset. You know, it used to be 20 years ago, people were so used to these employer plans that covered everything, these union type of, these classic blue plans where you go to the doctor, you go to the hospital, you don't pay anything, and it's an all-you-can-eat buffet. And then people had to get used to copays and deductibles, and things got more expensive. And now we're at another breaking point where I think people not only have to worry about the deductibles and the copays, but they will also have to get some services that they really need from the doctors that they really want to go see, and they'll have to pay cash outside of the system for it. So that's just something to be aware of. And unfortunately, I do think that we're getting to the point where a lot of folks are going to be, we're seeing more and more individuals being uninsured, especially the younger individuals, because 90% of individuals that have health insurance, they don't meet their deductible, which means that for 90% of the people, I know it's a sort of a kind of like a Russian roulette, where if you end up getting in a catastrophic accident, or if you get a cancer diagnosis or something big, you're going to be in that 10% pretty quickly at any time. But 90% of the people, they don't hit that deductible. So most people are realizing that maybe health insurance is not the way to finance their healthcare, and that they would rather go cash instead of getting an insurance plan.